Life is good, it is good to me, and it was meant for you to live and be free, to live and be free.
Today's topic is change. Change is something that we are all very familiar with, and change is undeniably a part of life. If I recall correctly, I believe it was Bob Dylan who said that nothing is as stable or as certain as change, and it's true. We all know change. Some of us are very frightened by it. Some of us are excited by it. Some change occurs that we feel we have no control over. Some change we create on our own. There are many different types of change. Sometimes, when things in our lives begin to change, we don't always know what to do. They overwhelm us, they frighten us, and basically they freak us out. But what happens to someone who is consistently resisting is that this change essentially paralyzes them. So instead of realizing that something in your life has shifted, you are instead stuck in a state of disbelief about this thing that has shifted. The terms that are essential here, there are two of them: surrender and acceptance. Eckhart Tolle defined surrendering as yielding to the flow of life. And the reason why yielding to the flow of life is so important is because you're no longer opposing the flow of life. This idea of flow has even been spoken of by psychologists, and it's really an essential term to deeply consider. When one flows, one goes with the natural current of things, and the reason why that is so important is because you take things as they come and you deal with them accordingly. You know, and this is the whole idea with change. When you are paralyzed by change, when you are pretty much resistant, when you are in a state of shock or fear or worry or paranoia or any kind of level of discontentedness due to change, you don't allow growth at that moment. So the way to overcome this is to simply learn and practice this idea of acceptance. When you accept that something has occurred, you realize the certain elements that are in play, and really it's a matter of being honest with yourself. You know, I realize that so-and-so has just occurred, and either I'm very excited or I'm very upset by this situation. You know, what is the next step now? What do I do going forward? And that's the thing that one must keep in mind, is that the idea is to always go forward. With everything, you will grow to have immense patience, because patience is essential for growth. It's essential. You'll be nowhere without it. Change is the only thing we can be certain of. But we cannot ask change to speed up or to slow down. You simply take change as it comes, and that's all there is to it. That's the goal, essentially. It's progression, you know, and the same way that one tends to a garden, tends to a plant, the same one must tend to themselves. So change can paralyze, but change can also motivate. And you will have to then decide how you're going to allow it to affect you. Will you allow it to immobilize you and paralyze you and frighten you? Or will you allow it to inspire you, to challenge you, and to make you contemplate your reality, and to make you think and consider, what is going on in my life and what am I going to do about it? That's the idea. Change is the only certain thing, the only thing we can be certain of. You know, I've met people in life, and I've often heard this term when I ask someone, how are you doing? And they'll tell me, oh, same shit, different day, or, oh, not much. I just don't even see how that's possible, to live a life that is boring, or to live a life where not much is going on. There's so much going on all the time, but, you know, are you paying attention to all this so much that's going on all the time? That's, you know, that's the whole thing. It's how tuned in are you? How aware are you? And the thing is, when you practice your awareness, you will be able to really understand this idea of change and learning to work with it. You know, everything is a process. Everything is a lesson, and things really do take time. Going back to this idea of change, I I was sitting on a bench in Washington Square Park the other day, and I was just sitting and just observing life. And I was sitting by the area where there's a kid's playground that's fenced off, and they have swing sets and jungle gyms and all that really fun stuff, you know. I'm sitting there and I'm just looking at a kid swinging back and forth. And I thought about how, my God, childhood used to be so simple. And childhood is meant to be simple. And for some reason, it was at that moment that I realized that there should be no shame, no worry, no fear when it comes to aging. No worry, no concern at all. At different times, we are meant to learn different things. You know, when we are young, we live simple lives because our awareness at that moment is a simple one. And the idea of swinging back and forth on a swing may not be something that we entirely appreciate at that age. It may be something we enjoy, but how quickly our world can crumble when something so simple just does not go our way. You know, so youth is a really interesting time. And it's interesting that as we become adults, for example, kicking a soccer ball can be exhilarating because it's not something you often always have time for, and you're able to much more deeply appreciate those meaningful but simple moments. And that's the thing. You know, nothing is as certain as change. And we will experience this change through every age, through every situation in our life. We all go through change, and some journeys can be a lot more intense, more painful, more complicated than others. But again, acceptance is key. And surrender is key. The moment you surrender, the sooner everything else will be much simpler to handle. So if you dig these videos, you think they're cool, you appreciate the message that I'm trying to share with the world, please subscribe, please like, and as always, keep the peace and love alive. Take it easy.